Amazing. Welcome to Power Moves, the podcast that not only introduces you to successful entrepreneurs, but more importantly, gives you practical insights on what they did exactly to accomplish it. Today's guest is Andrea D'Agostini, an entrepreneur, founder, investor, husband, father of two, someone that has spent years helping companies grow while simultaneously building businesses of his own. Today, we're talking about entrepreneurship, reinvention, building companies with purpose, taking risks, which I know Andrea is just an absolute beast when it comes to making things go right and going big. He does not play any small games. So Andrea, thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure. Very much a pleasure being here. I'm just one correction. I'm a father of three. I have three. I have a 19-year-old, a 19-year-old daughter, a 2-year-old daughter, and 8 weeks old.
Thank you for catching me on there. I'm sure the eldest really appreciates that.
Yeah, sure. Exactly.
Well, amazing. So I would love to just introduce our audience to yourself, if you don't mind sharing just a snippet of who you are and some of your accomplishments to give them some context on what we talk about today.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Italian. I was born and raised in Italy, in Torino, which is the Juventus and Fiat town. Juventus is a soccer team, one of the best ones, the best one. What am I talking about? The best one. If anybody has a different opinion, they should DM me and we're going to have a conversation about it because it's the best team. And I lived in Italy for a period of time until I was 26. And then I started to go back and forth from the United States. During that period of time, my initial career was in the arts space. I was an actor. And I found out that I was an artist by exclusion, meaning that I wasn't rich when I was in high school, so I wasn't having any group and I wasn't going out with any girl that was rich. I wasn't politically involved, so no girls that were politically involved. I didn't do any drugs, so no girls. So basically, I didn't go out with any girl, and by exclusion, I determined that I must be an artist. And so I started to do acting, and I started to do soap operas. I was lucky enough to do quite a few soap operas and movies in Italy, but I was a soap opera actor, right? Soap opera actors means that whatever you say and whatever the circumstance is, you always speak like this, whatever that is. It doesn't matter what it is, like, hey, where's the bathroom? It's the same thing as, hey, I love you. It's the same thing. So I did that for a period of time. Then I tried to become a professional actor, do like movies, important movies and so on, but I couldn't fit in the actual actor's place. So I thought, well, clearly, if this doesn't work, I'm a dancer. And so I danced for a period of time. It was like logical, right? So this was a period of time. It was fantastic, actually. I started at 22 years old dancing, so very old. For compared to what you should do, but I was like a trained person, so I could still do it, and I did it professionally for a period of time. Then I got casted in television as a host, and I did a lot of shows in TV. And that period of time, I started to fall in love with communication, not with entrepreneurship yet, but with communication. And so I had the opportunity to produce for some shows, the commercial side of the show. At that point, I was 25. And during that same period of time, I realized that I didn't particularly like the hosting component, because I thought that it was the shows and the way you have to write the shows and so on. At that time in Italy, to me, was very stupid. And I was like, I don't want to do that. This is stupid, right? Like when a person says something obvious, and people clap about it in the audience, but it's stupid. Like, and you're like, so I didn't want to do it. Okay. And I went out and I said, okay, I'm gonna do something that makes sense. Like I want to do something that is like crazy good, having no idea what that meant. I was at the end of my university, my college studies. In Italy at that time, you needed to be in college in order to avoid going and do the military. And I didn't want to go to the military. So I was doing the bare minimum in college. And I thought, well, since I need to spend all this time and write my white papers and so on, I might as well do it for something that it's worthwhile. So I produced at that time what it was called Aqua Tour, which was basically I thought, well, I really love music. And so I would like to find somebody to produce my music and do my stuff,
Mm.
but I wasn't that good. Like I was good, but not that good, you know? And so nobody
What
wanted to
what
produce me.
music? What part of the music did you play?
I was a singer songwriter.
Amazing.
So I was writing my own music and I was singing it. And I had some renowned producers that work with me. I shall say, I wasn't not good. I was not self-confident enough to
Mm.
really push through. I had all this like self-invalidation and so on and so forth that it was pulling me back. So I
Sounds like
thought,
an artist.
sounds like an artist, right? And I didn't have a good support team at all, right? So I thought, well, probably what I should do is actually create a promotional system for me. And
Mm.
so what I did at that time, I thought, well, if I am to uh, do this with very little money, because that was my first loan. I took a loan of $25,000 from the bank, unsecured loan. So if I am to do this, how am I going to succeed? Well, I need to be in front of a bunch of people. But if I need to be in front of a bunch of people, I don't have the money to get the people to me. So how can I go where the people already are? And then
Mm.
I was like, yeah, but I don't have the money to pay for like to transport my equipment. So where do I go where like people already have the equipment? And I was like, yeah, but I don't have the money to pay the music rights because in Italy, if you play, you need to pay an organization that holds the music rights, even if it's your music. And
Mm.
so I was like, but I don't have the money to do that. So where do I go that has the people already pays for the da 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 da, da all these things? So
Yeah.
I determined that the best location were water parks. And because water parks have already a bunch of people, they already pay the music rights because the music goes on all day long. They have the
Mm.
equipment. And after about 4 hours, the people are in the water park, they start to get bored because it's after lunch. So they go in the
Mm.
morning, they spend on average $200 per family. They stay all day, but after lunch, they get bored. And so I went around for these water parks. This guy that was 26, I think, something like that, going around with these mega multi-million dollar machines and saying, "Hey, I wanna, I wanna come here, bring you artists that you've never heard about, and I wanna do all these things, right?" And they were, I don't know, they said yes. And so I did what was called Aqua Tour 2008, where we brought a series of bands to play. Basically, we selected these a number, I think it was 7 or 8 water parks in Italy, and we put the bands to play every weekend in a different water park. So at the same time, during that day in the weekend, they were playing, and then they were rotate into
Mm.
locations. And it was quite spectacular what occurred because it was crazy, a crazy idea, but the math behind it made sense. Like the way I have got the money to then produce the whole thing was, well, first I got the agreement of all the parks. Second, I got the agreement from the parks that I could build a kiosk inside of the park to basically promote the sponsors that were kind enough to work with us.
Mm.
Uh, and then I went to the sponsor and I basically sold the sponsor an incredibly low cost per contact. Because in those parks you had all these people, but I didn't pay to get them there, so I technically could sell them for nothing because
Right.
I didn't have to recoup anything. And I have no idea how I put it together. It was completely like looking at it backwards. It was like, how did they say? Why did they say yes? But they did, and so we were able to put it together with a bunch of difficulties, like a quantity of difficulties that is hard to explain. Right, incredible level of difficulties, insanity. Um,
Like
and
what?
then from the sponsor didn't pay, for instance.
Mm.
The sponsor said he was paying and he didn't pay. And you need to drop what you're doing, fly to the headquarters unannounced, stay there until they pay, handle whatever objection they had. Like this is
Wow.
one example. Another example, the people of the park decided to put the band in a position that it was completely inefficient. It was not what we discussed. So you have the
Mm.
upset of the band and they have the upset of the people in the park, and you need to manage it over the phone at a distance and make it happen at a distance. And you just need to be relentless in this approach. But my goal was to be the main artist of the tour. And I got so busy that I wasn't in the tour at all. Like I didn't play one song, like not even one. The logic
Wow.
that I had was, though, that if you give that much exposure to an artist, they got over 3.5 million people that these artists in the tour. The total number of people that came was 3.5 million.
Wow.
It's an approximation because they didn't came for us. They came because they went to the park, but they were exposed too, right? And they all these artists had opportunities, professional opportunities and labels that came and so on and so forth, but none of them succeeded. And so I was like, well, it's probably not a matter of, although some of them were really good. And I was like, it's
Mm.
probably the fact that the artists don't think like entrepreneurs. And so, it needs to be evolved. So I planned to evolve it. I plan to do the aqua tour, the mall tour, and the ski tour. So same logic in those locations. And I found the company that was interested in the initiative, and they purchased my idea. And I thought that I was just the best entrepreneur that ever walked the earth, because I sold my idea for $100,000, and I thought, this is genius. Like, I am an absolute genius. And then they turned around and they started to pitch the same idea for 1.2 million. And I was like, I'm not that of a genius. What the fuck am
Oh
I missing here?
no.
Like, yeah. But anyways, it went like that. It was a great learning experience. In hindsight, I wouldn't sell. I would have
Sure.
made a different deal, but the deal
And this was
went.
while you were in college, or it was after college?
Right after, right after.
Right.
I did college, my college time, although it was a 5-year college or something like that, it took a little bit longer because I was working in between and because I was doing the
Mm.
bare minimum number of exams. So I didn't have to go to do in the army
Right.
at that time.
And what did you go to college for?
It was basically management and business of art and the show business, that type of
Okay,
thing.
so it was in
Like,
the
yeah.
vein of what you actually wanted to do.
Dude, it meant nothing. It was like the most, like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, it was the worst possible choice I could make, not because per se is bad, but because it was nothing. Like, there was nothing that you would learn that would be of any substance at all. So much so that that's another story. How I went through and did my exams and I passed them. Actually, it was complete acting. I went on a principle that I will never study more than 20. I consider all my teachers, or most of them, idiots. That's my viewpoint was like, these guys are idiots. Like, they know they're not teaching something useful. They know. They can't not know. So they must be
Yeah.
idiots. And I thought, okay, I will never study more than 24 hours for any exam, ever, because
Mm.
it's too stupid. And I am going to go through the exams leveraging their self-importance. And so what I did was studying. They sell you their books in college. They want you to buy their books, so they make money off of it. And what I
Mhm.
did was assuming that they want to. They just doing the book so they can sell you the book. Like, not because they're passionate about the topic, right? So the book must be stupid. And so I only read the first 20 pages. And then I read the central paragraph, 1 page every 3. Like, every 3 pages, I read one central paragraph of the book. And that was the way I studied. And I was like, and then I'm going to study something that I actually care about that has nothing to do with this thing, and they don't know. So what I chose, because for whatever reason, because it's amazing actually, is a poet called Paul Celan. It has nothing to do with anything, but I studied this poet, and he's amazing. His writing is incredible. He was in the concentration camp, and he could still write about love, and the parallel of love between the prisoners and the SS and the Nazi, and he could see love in both. So he was amazing. Um, Anyways, so I went to the exams, and I told my dad before I went out to the exam every morning when I had an exam or a test, I told my dad, I'm going to talk about Paul Celan today. And the exam was about Almodovar theory of filming, right? Pedro Almodovar theory of filming. So I went, and I always said, oh, they asked a question that I didn't know fuck all about. I didn't know nothing about it. I was like, that's a great question. In fact, it totally reminded me of Paul Celan. Do you know Paul Celan? And the guy says, yes, of course. And I knew there was no way he knew Paul Celan. So I was like, okay, you're mine. And I went on a completely invented show, like completely invented. And I did like that because I didn't appreciate the fact that they were having a bunch of people in there studying nothing. So
Sure.
anyways, so that was my college. And when I finished college or university in Italy, I did my essay was on the project that I produced and sold and made money with, which was the Aqua Tour. And they were like, well, your project is not philosophically challenging enough. It doesn't challenge philosophically enough, right? So instead of giving me 110, which is the top, they gave me 107. And I told them that the system was broken because my project made money and was working and it was an activity. All the other things that these guys are nothing, are mental masturbation, and it means nothing. But they didn't like my approach. So that's what happened.
Crazy that you would be so gravely misunderstood and underappreciated.
My PR was out, but yeah. So
Well,
that's happened.
so that's interesting because you started in the arts, you went to college for essentially the arts, and you were doing this essay, if you will, on this project to elevate yourself as an artist. You end up producing for all these other artists and not even
Yeah.
singing a single word. So
Yeah.
have you, for myself, I always imagined I was going to be a musician. That's what I was going to do. That was my strongest
Oh, wow.
purpose point.
Wow.
And I still actually feel that today, even though I'm in business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've made it my job to help tons of artists increase their career. And I've had people that have been featured in, shows on the CW. I work with someone on SNL for the last 7 years. So I've kind of lived vicariously through them, and in a way got to help steer them, I guess, from the education side. But when I got into college, it was because I actually felt I could do anything, not from like a conceited point of view, but rather like if I did set my mind to something, why would I fail at it? Like, why couldn't I be great at that? But in a way, it was almost paralyzing because it's like, well, if I can do anything, then what would I do? Right. So I went to college also from more of the business standpoint, I guess, but how to integrate that into my art. And there you go. I had the realization I want to help artists grow their career too. And eventually I will come back around to music, especially after some recent realizations. But I guess for yourself, so that was a point you moved into, I guess, more of a business side of things. Have you continued to stay, like, did you more and more just go out into business? Has there been art integrated with that throughout? What's been your journey since?
So the reason why I stopped doing art at that point was really because of being beaten up. Being beaten up by maybe people that are close to you that are having a different life experience than you are, and they communicate in a certain way, and you let them do it. So that is the reality. So I shouldn't have stopped my artistic endeavors. But what I have channeled creativity was in production. And I started to channel creativity. At that point in time, we're talking 2008, in Italy was the beginning of social media. There wasn't much before. Like it was the beginning of Facebook. YouTube was starting to exist, but not. It wasn't like as obviously as prominent as it is right now. But it existed, right? And there were Foursquare. There were a few other platforms that,
Right.
yeah,
Google Plus.
yeah, or yeah, no, yes. Oh God, yeah. I liked Google Plus. Like although it was me and the Google engineer, and that's it. But
Yeah, there you go.
but, but I
I
think
thought
yeah,
the invite only concept was very popular, that you had to get in through a wait list, essentially. I thought that was
yeah,
very clever.
yeah. And there was also how is called MySpace was still
Yes.
existing a little bit, but it was dying. But it was anyways. So at that point in time, what I did was thinking that I had to reinvent a little bit what I would do, and that I thought, well, I think there is a space to do production, television-like production, but for social media.
Mm.
And so I thought, well, I think it would be interesting to do a reality show, but connected to a brand. So it's built around the brand. And there was this fashion brand there still is, that is called Sweet Years. And it's owned by a group of people, but the two most prominent ones are two famous soccer players, Vieri and Maldini, which two names that in Italy are prominent names of incredible champions that really really star in the, if you like soccer. And they had this brand, and we were lucky enough to work with the brand, not with them, but with the brand, and created basically a reality show. Crazy, like what we did in like the way, like when you put together a whole production, but you have never done it. So you're very unprepared to do the whole production. We didn't have
Sure.
any insurance. We didn't have anything. We got people and we put them in a car and they say, yeah, let's go shoot this episode skiing in this location. And we went there. The car didn't have the correct wheels. The house, like it was like, yeah, either we shoot it or we're gonna die. One or the other. Like something's gonna happen. Right? Either way, we're gonna be in the news. So, anyways, we did the whole production. It was actually a rather large contract, and that opened the door to then working with Sephora, which is a makeup brand, for which I was lucky enough in Italy to do all their social media launches and campaigns between 2010, 2013. Then in between, we did Pandora, which is the jewelry company. And then we did Lacoste shoes and Sperry Topsider shoes and a few others, right? We did a few other brands. And
How did
we
you get
became...
those connections? Like, how did that end up happening?
So the way it happened was out of sheer insouciance and the way I did it was thinking, okay, I have no money and I have no idea how I'm going to get these people to even listen to me, and I don't know how to sell. So I need someone else to do it for me, and I just need to use what I know how to do, which is talk. And so so I was like, okay, so what I'm going to do, I am going to give a free seminars about social media and communication to PR and media firms, but mainly PR firms, because they are already in communication with these brands, and they have been normally for an extended amount of time, because you don't change your PR firm that often. If you have a professional one, I mean a major one, if you have the guys that says, I'm going to put you on Forbes, digital Forbes that you can do for free, then yes, that you change them quickly. But if it is the real ones, you don't. And so I was like, okay, I can probably win with that. And I don't remember how, but I met one of them. And so I was like, I'll come over and I'll do a seminar for free for you. And they were like, oh, for sure. It's such an interesting thing. Social media is so upcoming. We need to get more data. So I did that. And they were like, this is actually very interesting. I would like to introduce you to XYZ customer. And that's how it's how the transition started, and then it continued.
Wow.
Then they knew another PR firm, and then I spoke with them, and then I spoke with them, and I spoke with them, and that's how it happened. So
A lot of
we
times working with the clients I work with, one of the biggest missing areas that I've seen that they have is not understanding where to find their customer, not understanding who's already talking to their customer, not understanding the most cost-effective way to get in front of their customer. And what I've seen already just in our talk so far is it seems like you're really good at that. Like just from those two stories alone of Aquatour and now this, of putting yourself in the right place, because that's what they say is you're in the right place at the right time. And it sounds like you've really mastered that, or you've had an eye for it.
I think it was an eye for it and survival. Because I told you what worked, but how many things didn't work?
Sure. These are
I
the
told you how.
highlights.
Yeah, I told you, and that this happened that worked, and then this happened that worked, but the vast majority of things didn't work. Like that's the vast majority of things. And then
What do you think
you
that
find one
percentage is? The ones that don't
works
work, the
versus
ones that
doesn't work.
do. Yeah.
90-10.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think it's important to have a rapidity of ideas and execute on them?
Yeah. I mean, of course, if you are lucky and you have somebody that you can learn from or that can point you in the right direction, that is incredibly valuable because you reduce that percentage of failure by factor, like by an order of magnitude. Like it really makes it small. But you need to have that person. So if you have a mentor that walked through the wire and succeeded and has the scars to prove it, is really worth it. Like it's one of those values that one should pay for. Absolutely. Like paying for secondhand experience or secondhand observation is saves you a bunch of money and time. But I didn't have that, unfortunately.
I'm going
And
to ask,
so,
it sounded like you somehow survived through your own persistence.
yeah. But I would have achieved way bigger results if I did have that type of opportunity. Like if my uncle or dad or friend or whatever, if I could have someone to learn from as opposed to figuring it out, it would have been amazing for me. I was not an administrator of my company, right? So when I sold it in 2013, I sold it for pennies compared to what is worth, what was worth. I didn't understand the logic of a contractual relationship and residuals and things like that. So in the relationship, it was very detrimental. The contracts that I made were very detrimental for me, IP ownership and things like that. So having somebody that can guide you through a process is super valuable. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'd say so. And yet here you are still standing. What are you working on now? What are you building currently?
So after we sold the company in 2013, moved to the United States and became the vice president of an energy company, which is called American Power and Gas. And at that point in time, it was a beautiful relationship at that point in time. And they also were willing to become the sponsor for my green card, which I really needed. And so it was great. They needed what I was doing, and I needed a company in the United States with certain characteristics that could work with me. When we started working together, the company was not doing well. It was minus $14 million. And fast forward a few years later, it was plus 387. So the team worked amazingly well. And there were several plus points in that sense. And by the time I left the company in 2021 after COVID, I think it was $500 million, $1 billion, something like that. And I am sure that it keeps doing very well. So after that, I went back into production and creation. So I had two marketing agencies that became one. And the idea of that project was to develop a team that could grow my businesses. So you work with external, you service others to then grow mine, but you have this paid training, and it doesn't take a short amount of time to train somebody to be good. I mean, of course, if you have a lot of money, you can hire someone that is already at that level. But in my case, my strategy was to groom them the way I wanted them to be. So that's what we did. And we started to grow that initiative over time quite well. Got a couple of times on Inc. 5000 and so on. And then when the AI evolution occurred, it was quite clear to me that it was quite clear that the initiative needed to be managed in a different way, because the initiative. Just one second. Okay, good. You need me? Oh, thank you so much. My wife is bringing me coffee, which is incredible.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Yeah, when
Lucky
you're
husband.
winning, is that, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Thank you. So when AI came along some years ago, a couple of years ago, it started to be clear to me that we were about to experience another evolution like Netflix with Blockbuster. So that there was a whole layer of activities that needed to evolve because it wouldn't survive. It was just like, when you are existing on borrowed time, it's just because the adoption is too slow. And so because the adoption is too slow, then you have time, but per se, you don't, So most of activities need to evolve from, you have a few plays. Like if you are into heavy tech development and you have enough resources, you can play in the actual development of the technology. But if you don't, it's a lie that you can. You can't. Like there is no scenario in which you can compete with $500 billion investment and compete on speed.
Sure.
You can build on top of the infrastructure, right? So you're not going to build the roads, but you can have a logistic company. Yeah, because
Right.
it's a different criteria. So we started to look at what is the correct approach that makes sense to expand and to look into the future. And people that have skill set in certain verticals, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't really matter how strong the company is right now. It really doesn't, because the criteria are about to change. The definition of intelligence is about to change. So it doesn't matter, because when Netflix came along, a company that was super profitable and was producing DVDs and DVD readers and machines to play the DVD players, doesn't matter if they were very efficient and very effective and they had a great sales team. Doesn't matter, because you can't optimize something that doesn't need to be there. So they were worth zero, basically. You follow? Even if they were making money, it was borrowed time because they were about to be zero. So that's true for many industries. Hence, the correct evolution is to look at durable assets that have low rate of disruption. For now, they have a low rate of disruption. So we entered and we are entering and investing into the medical space, because our understanding in the marketing side, we were creating business growth for medical offices, dental, med spas, you name it. And we understand that vertical very well, and we have a whole infrastructure for that. So it makes sense to become the asset that you were working for, as opposed to be a service provider, right? It's funny to look at like the guru that online that are trying to teach you how to use AI,
Everyone's hopping on that right now.
I don't like it, because it's a lie. Like, can you teach someone how to prompt something? Yes. But if you actually are looking at AI and so on and so forth, you know that knowledge is actually free, because you can ask the AI to do it for you. B, it's free on YouTube and so on. It's easy to find. C, the problem is adoption, is not understanding. Adoption is generational. Like your parents maybe use an iPhone, but they use one app. They maybe learn how to do WhatsApp, you know what I mean? Or send a text message, right? And the iPhone is there, and there are thousands, but its adoption is generational knowledge. So So it doesn't really move the needle, and it's an apparency that it does because it's about to be old. Like in 3 months from now, it's old. And what you learned before and all the mechanisms together is old. So it should be given for free, right? All these people that are teaching is the knowledge industry is about to be turned upside down because you don't need it. What you need is purpose. So those that actually work on the purpose side of things are doing a great job. I think is going to be the most valuable currency. Purpose is going to be the most valuable currency. I don't think
What do you
that
mean by
money
that?
will. Well, if you're producing some in a company, the value of the company is a useful production times people, is how many people produce useful things and the quantity of the useful things produced. That is true for a nation, right? The GDP is a useful production per capita. So
Sure.
if you start to have the level of automation that we see right now, and you add robotics to it, which are seeing is going to become big, that production level becomes unlimited. That you don't have a stop. The only cost is electricity, but you don't have
Right.
everything will drop in terms of cost of production and therefore value, right? Without inflation, because you can keep the production going. So money will not have value because it will measure nothing. So the only thing that society-wise, we will need to find a solution that makes sense for us, and we will most likely have to create some sort of everybody has all the money that you want all the time, because it will not measure anything. So what will measure is purpose. Like if you have that condition and is inevitable, they will go there. Just like adoption of email was inevitable, or adoption of streaming was inevitable. So we will adopt that approach for sure. The thing they will cause, imagine that people are stripped from the necessity to work. You do not need to work to have money, right? For people that are, let's say, they want to live without doing nothing, a little bit like not the greatest people, right? They think, oh, it's going to be amazing. It's not going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing for, I don't know, a week. And for some people, they really want to do nothing in life, a month, 2. But then if you have to do nothing, then your problem is going to become purpose. And we will have to, society will divide in 2. There will people that will try to progressively become living a digital life. And then there will be people that will help others to find purpose. And I think that's where we are headed.
So you think at that point, I mean, to someone that, like myself, I guess, or people I know that they use money as energy to continue to create bigger and bigger effects and do bigger and better things. If there's an unlimited supply of money and now we don't have this limitation on access to it, I could see that being a very good thing, actually.
For you, because you have purpose.
Sure.
And your purpose is not money. But imagine if a person, imagine this, imagine, I give you actually a perfect example. If you think about how much time people are spending engaging with the online entertainment of any kind, the statistic is going like this over time, right? Scrolling time is going like this. And the reason why it's going like this is because in general, people, particularly the younger generation, find more interesting the digital reality than base reality. So they spend more time, right? So what pulls them out of that? Well, the necessity to do things, because you need to. But if you remove that necessity, you will have a lot of people that will go into a world of sensations. Like they will want sensation, which is like the entertainment side, the sexual side, the drug side. They will go in that direction because they can't find the purpose. And then there will be people like you that will exponentially expand their ability to reach, because money will not be a limitation, and it will not. Like it will not. It's just like right now, like in the past, to send a communication from point A to point B 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago, it was crazy expensive. You need to the horse and the guy, and they would be killed on the route. It's like, so it was crazy expensive, right? Then as technology evolved, that cost went progressively to zero. And right now, if you want to send an email to a million people, it's it's orders of magnitude less expensive than 1,000
Sure.
years ago.
Yeah.
The same is true for activities in society. It will be exponentially cheaper. It's just the speed that will create a problem. We will live at what was called in 2009 digital Darwinism, where technology evolves faster than society, and so society gets out of communication because they can't follow.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully the listeners on this podcast are more leaning towards living a purposeful and impactful life. I'm curious to hear
Yeah,
from you.
but they need to shift the
Yes.
purpose, because a lot of purpose right now is the money. Is I am
Sure.
because I have, like, look at my car and my helicopter and my stuff, and because of that I am such an enlightened person because of the quantity of things that I have. And
Sure.
that's a losing proposition. They will lose. If it looks
Yeah.
like winning, it's losing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen some notable people that have access to so much wealth that used to be quite flashy. And yet now here we are with wired headphones and more scaling back the materialism of it.
Mhm.
People kind of have that pivot of what's actually important. You're saying a lot on purpose. I'm curious from your viewpoint, do you feel that purpose is what separates businesses from those that scale and those that stay stuck? Do you think there's more to it than just purpose?
Yeah, no, I don't think purpose does. No. I
Mm.
think there is a whole combination of things. Let me think 1 second. I think there are, I would say, three components that I see as being the key. Note that I have seen people that are almost borderline criminal, borderline meaning that I think they are promising something that they know they will not deliver, making
Yeah.
a lot of money, a lot of money,
Mm.
like a lot, hundreds of millions of dollars, whilst truthfully, they wouldn't want their family to purchase the product because it's so bad.
Mm.
So no, I don't. I think money is a very tricky statistic to look at, because you can be a horrible person and make a gajillion dollars. You can sell drugs and make a gajillion dollars. You can invent disease to sell pharmaceuticals and make a lot of money. So no, I don't think purpose is an
It's gonna have to
element
be
that
a
change.
good purpose.
Yeah, because but no, I don't think that that's the case. I think that what let's say a normal person, what will make the person succeed or not in his endeavors, let's say money on the side, it can be business, but it can be building a family, it can be many other things, is number one, who he has around him. Like if he has people that are purposely suppressing him,
Mm.
then doesn't matter the purpose. You can have the best purpose in the world, you will feel depressed all the time and you
Mm.
don't know why, and you will not succeed. So that's one. Number two, pain tolerance. If you have a good purpose, pain tolerance is another key ingredient, and which goes with push. So you can have pain tolerance and not pushing enough, and you're still gonna not do well. And the third one is basically looking around and being smart enough about what's around you. By that, I mean like constantly studying, looking, try to understand how you can be smarter about what you're doing. And I think those elements are the ones that would give you a leg up in disorder. Like,
Mhm.
first of all, you must not, or you need to try to avoid having someone that is stabbing you. That's very useful.
Right.
Because then the perseverance and pain tolerance and push, I mean, you're going to have a level of pain that is unbearable and you don't understand where it's coming from. So
Mhm.
that is important. Second, pain tolerance, because you need to be able to confront the pain and handle. And the third one is you should try to become more intelligent about what you do. And I don't think that society is going in the right direction in that sense. Like the purpose of an entrepreneur, just like a purpose of an artist, should be and is to enhance society, to improve society through his contributions. An artist with his vision and improving society, and an entrepreneur, goods and services to society. And so that is the goal, right? That's the goal that is a sane goal. We're all playing the game together. Competition is a lot of fun, but that should be the goal. When society starts to promote, try to do nothing to get a lot of money and continue to do nothing in a pool, then you're selling a dying society, because it will die. Because everybody will try to do nothing, but society is based upon, at the moment, the work of the common, the mutual work to create something positive. And if you try to sell going vacation as the main purpose, is like, I'm working very hard so I can stop working and going vacation on a beach, then you're missing the point, right? I mean, and it will create the incentive structure will create activities that are detrimental to society, and there are plenty. There are like OnlyFans. One girl in 10. I know because my daughter is 19 years old, so I think about that. 10% of girls between 18 and 25 in the United States do OnlyFans. It's an insane stat, right? And I don't know the percentage above that, and man, I don't know. But that percentage alone is amazing. And some of these women are making millions of dollars every month out of that activity. That is a dying society. It's like it's dying. Like, imagine if everyone does that, then just like dies 3 months later, like there is no one in the grocery store, there is nothing, right? So I always make a point when I'm around, when I'm in restaurants and so on, to really acknowledge those that are doing a job, like instead of taking pictures naked somewhere, they are doing something that is servicing society. And because that's a purpose. The other thing is like, who the fuck cares? Like, you made money. Well, amazing. Whatever. It shouldn't be that the incentive system is skewed in a way that is detrimental. And so that's what you see.
Well, Andrea, I really appreciate not only you sharing your story, but even in an unexpected way, just these deeper and bigger concepts about purpose and those 3 core areas that someone could focus on. I really hope that someone can take a good hard look at themselves and see how can they improve on those points. So I appreciate you distilling your knowledge and your experience with our listeners.
Oh, my pleasure.
And
my pleasure. Hope it's useful.
Hope that they'll continue to tap in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.